as we were just saying, still no signings to talk about, but we can talk about an imminent contract extension. So we'll start with a bit of good news. This was your exclusive from the past week that Myles Lewis-Skelly has agreed a new contract at the club. We're just waiting now for the announcement. So first of all, from what you know the situation, when can we expect that announcement to come?
Ha. It's impossible to predict when it comes to Arsenal in terms of when announcements come. As far as where it's done, it's signed. That was all sort of done and dusted yesterday. There was a sort of photo shoot at the stadium, that sort of stuff. So I think it's all ready to go. But you can never put a date on it when it comes to Arsenal because they can plan to do it one day and then suddenly it changes at the last minute and they'll do it 3 days later. So it's impossible to actually predict. But the good thing is it is done. Arsenal have got, one of the brightest young prospects in not just English football, but world football signed to a new long-term contract. And that's brilliant. It's fantastic news. Like I said, I reported the story last week that it was all agreed and yeah, now it's been signed. So we just await the announcement from Arsenal, but it's fantastic news.
Certainly is, yeah. I mean, he was, I think, due to become a free agent next year, but like you say, he's got so much love for the club. There were these links with Real Madrid, very sort of fleeting links, which I think we both thought, this is something that if they've got an interest in him, then fair enough, because he's been that good over the
Mm.
past sort of 6 months. But we'd be surprised if that ever got off the ground. So in terms of Lewis Skelly signing this new Arsenal deal, was there ever any doubt in your mind about it?
No, no, not at all, really. Obviously, you start hearing noises about Madrid, and your mind starts to wander a little bit. But it just wouldn't have made any sense to me from a sort of footballing perspective, from a development perspective. I'm sure you make that move at some point if you really want it, and but not at 18. I think it would almost have been sort of unprecedented, really, for an 18-year-old who'd just broken into the team to make a decision like that. And to go to a club of that sort of stature and leave your boyhood club at that age, obviously mid-20s, something like that, fine, but it wouldn't have made any sense to me. So I was never worried about it. He's got a manager that absolutely loves him, trusts him, that is, in the space of 6 months, helped transform him from a academy prospect to first choice for Arsenal, first choice for England left back. So he knows he's trusted at Arsenal. We know he's going to get game time, and he's at the place where he's spent the last 10 years sort of dreaming of getting to. So no, I didn't have too many fears. I have to say, I always thought it was a matter of time, and yeah, fortunately, that's been proven correct.
Yes, no Trent Alexander-Arnold situation with Myles Lewis-Skelly, thankfully. And this is the second renewal that will be announced. Of course, Gabriel Magalhaes has been tied down recently.
Mm.
And Andrea Berta, we've said about how he's come in, had to build up these relationships, which of course Edu had done, but Berta's come in and had to really build them from the ground up, which he's done with Gabriel and Lewis-Skelly. There has been a bit of criticism because obviously at the time of recording, Arsenal still haven't got a new signing over the line, and some fans are saying, what is Berta doing? Why is he taking so long? But he's coming in a summer when he's not just got the transfers, he's got all of these contract situations as well, and he's got two crucial players over the line now, it seems. So, any criticism of Berta in your eyes, is it just, too premature and maybe a bit ridiculous?
Yeah, really. I mean, it's very tough to criticise a sporting director in sort of before we've got to the end of June yet. I mean, the window's only been open a week, and yes, you want signing through the doors early, especially the sort of striker signing, which I think there's been so much focus on, obviously. But the players aren't back from holiday yet, so it is still early. There's plenty of time. If we get to the start of pre-season, or the squad are heading off to Singapore for the pre-season tour, and the striker still hasn't arrived, then I would start to worry about whether they really sort of have a clear picture of what they're trying to do when it comes to the striker, because that's when you think that the new guy has to be through the door at that point. Um, but before then, I'm not really overly concerned by it. Like you said, the sort of the contract stuff has been really, really good. I mean, Miles, I think, would be more down to Mikel Arteta than Andrea Berta, because that's where the relationship is, and it's more about sort of development when it comes to an 18-year-old than anything else. But Gabriel Magalhaes, that was a fantastic piece of work by Berta to come in, pick up those negotiations, really drive them forward, get them over the line. He's managed to get Miles over the line, even though, as I said, I think Mikel Arteta was an absolutely key factor in that. He's got the Mendy deal done. That's done. He's been in London. He signed everything. He's an Arsenal player, basically. We're just waiting for an announcement. Kepa should be done by the end of the week, which is a really brilliant piece of business from Arsenal in terms of getting a goalkeeper for a very, very good price at a good age to support David Raya. So, there is good business being done at Arsenal. It might not have been announced yet, but there is good business being done at Arsenal, both contracts wise and transfer wise. But ultimately, I think we all know how this window is going to be judged, and it's not going to be on signing Zubimendi. It's not going to be signing Kepa. It's going to be what Arsenal do in terms of their attack. What striker comes in? What other attacker comes in? How much money spent? That's how this window is going to be judged, and Andrea Berta is going to be judged. But I think you've got to do that at the end of the window rather than before the end of June.
And yeah, still, I think just a bit over 2 months to go in the transfer window. And like we were talking about with these contract situations, so that's two down, maybe about 5 or 6 to go. He's still got the likes of Saka, Waneri, Trossard, Saliba, all these players who there's been, whispers of conversations, but nothing over the line yet. In your eyes, I think, of course, Saka, Saliba, both in 2 years' time, their deals expire. Trossard, Waneri, in 1 year. So immediately you'd think those two, especially Waneri, as the next priority to tie down. Do you agree? I mean, which player do you think, or players, should be the top priorities, and which players do you maybe expect to be tied down next?
Well, I'm hoping all of them. I'm not sure he'll really do it so much in a priority list. I think it will just be how the sort of talks go and how quickly they ramp up in terms of who's the first one to sign. I'm not sure he'll look at it now and sort of do it in terms of priority one, two, three. I mean, they're all so important, those players that you mentioned, especially, yes, Saka and Saliba have got an extra year compared to Nwaneri. So sort of time frame wise, you'd think Nwaneri needs to be the priority. But you would look at the Saliba and Saka deals, and they're going to be a hell of a lot more complicated to do than Ranieri one for multiple reasons, really. So I think it's just going to be a case of trying to balance and spin as many plates as you possibly can and keep them spinning, and try and get them over the line whenever it's entirely possible. It's really, really important. Like you said, I mean, it's so much work for him to do. He's not be able to come in and get his feet under the table slowly. He's had to come in and dive headfirst into a huge amount of work at Arsenal, both transfer wise and contracts wise, which I'm probably imagine he likes, to be honest. It keeps him busy. And I would hope all of them sign. I'm at that stage at the moment where I feel that the wind is travelling in a good direction when it comes to contracts and getting these players tied down. But I think we're a long way to go before we can celebrate it yet. But I would hope that they all sign.